Hey, IDS 301. This is Module 3, Video 2. It is September 11th, of course. Um, it's about 2:30. I just thought it was about noon, and then I looked. I thought, oh my goodness. Um, all right, let's just do a little bit of housekeeping. I don't know about the lighting. I rearranged in here and took away my big table desk that was facing the windows, and all the windows here, and it's just a whole thing. Sorry about that lighting. Housekeeping. Don't do the course over your phone. I don't know if that's something, but I've heard it is by some other instructors. I just wanted to just give you that reminder. I don't know how you can do it over the phone, but okay. Make sure you put your names on the papers. As some of you found out, I deduct for that. I do. I think it's a common courtesy. It's common sense. Name belongs on the paper. So anything that's uploaded in a Word doc should have your name on the paper. Um, remember your paper formatting. Your font should be Times New Roman 12. Remember capitalizations. Don't just do random capitalizations. Really decide if it's what that noise is. Sorry. Oh, shower. Um, really decide if it's a proper noun or not, right? Car salesman is not a proper noun. Okay. The word discipline is not a proper noun. You don't capitalize it unless it's starting the sentence. Um, I deduct for that. You'll know that. I also ignore anything that you think might be a discipline. If it's not capitalized, I ignore it. Okay. I'm sorry. Paragraph indents, make them consistent by using the tab key. Okay. Some are third of the line in, some of them are two spaces, some of them be consistent with your paragraph indents. In a discussion board where you really don't have to do indents, please though leave a line gap between paragraphs. And also you can be a little more clear if you're addressing a multiple topic type discussion. So I know where one stops, the other one starts, okay? Citations we talked about. In discussion board, you do not have to cite the text, okay? I'd rather you didn't, okay? It's kind of a cheap citation. Directly quoting from Tanner. I just don't recommend it. I just don't find it. I mean, I think you can find a better way to actually use the concepts, the words that are in here without having to directly quote, but you do you, right? Okay. You don't need to email me when you're going to be late. You just take the late penalty. There is no email unless you've got a legitimate excuse that I'm going to forgive and waive the late penalty. Please don't. There's too much that's your business, and you don't really have to share it with me. That's not required. Okay. You put your class on emails 301. Unless you email me from Canvas, which might be the best way to do it, then I see which class you are. You need to put it on. I got 301, 302. Sometimes the Easter eggs are very similar. Sometimes, it's just a lot of students, like 80 students, and it's easier for me instead of going through and finding you. Um, email me any feedback comments to my feedback if you have any. Don't, I know I talked about this before, don't add them in the comments because they don't show me that it's there waiting for me then. I have to go back and look, and I don't do that. So you just email to me, it's fine. If there's any issues, of course, set up phone calls, what have you with me. All right, so let's just do Easter egg number one. Remember the details. Oh my God, he's yawning again. If this guy isn't belching on. Okay, Easter egg number one is remember the details. I just went through some of them up there. They're important, okay? Why is CVS still emailing me? Okay, chapter 3, 4, and 5 are part of the readings for this module, and I just wanted to go in a little deeper, just a little deeper. In chapter 3, you'll see some theories in there, okay? Now, those aren't the kind of theories we're talking about for maps, unless you specifically find them in that um, concentration or discipline. But you'll see some theories in there. All right, important basic theories to know. They help us to contextualize our world, and they're very interesting to me, whether it's structuralism, critical theory, complex theory. Um, Pay attention to those. And also, what I'm telling you here might be part of the quiz, right? Hey, um, he talks about encountering conflict. That's an important concept in integrative research. You encounter conflict. Okay, this module highlights that. You encounter conflict between the disciplines. Okay, do you see what I see? Right? Everybody sees everything through their own lens, through their own filters, through their own analysis. Many of us are similar in many ways, many of us are different in many ways. Personal experience. But encountering conflict in disciplinary processes for integration is quite common. Then there's reconciling that conflict. How do you do it? How do you prioritize what's more important? Okay? If we're architects and we're talking about bridges, we happen to be working with a dentist, they're talking about bridges. Which bridge is going to be higher priority? Probably the architect's bridge. Boy, that was a lousy metaphor. Sorry. Um, and then you're going to see some of the IDS research processes, the steps. These are crucial, in my opinion, especially as you move into IDS 302 and beyond. There are steps from Repco, 10 steps. Klein has her steps, and Newell has his steps. There's similarities between all of them. Look at them, and then notice that Tanner himself created his own 5 steps approach, kind of simplified it. I use that 5-step approach for my 302 course in doing interdisciplinary integrative research. And I just started doing that in the spring, and boy, it's turning into a really exciting way to do research. And most of my students are really enjoying it. But take a look at those. Those are important, the 5-step approach too. All right, in chapter 4, Tanner talks about epistemology, page 40. Know that. Know that concept. It's important in education and academics. Epistemology. Okay. Look at the disciplinary boxes to get an imagery of what we're talking about in terms of different disciplines and how they have their own little areas. Okay. You'll see the Petri illusion kind of there. The old lady, young girl illusion from Do You See What I See in that Petri reading that's from this module. You also see the gecko notes. You'll be watching the gecko video, which I had my 302 class do, and the Mighty Mug, and it's really interesting, and you'll be getting to that soon. In chapter 5, it talks mostly about integrative learning as a life skill, okay? There's a lot of meta views about that. Take a look at that. None of these are very long in terms of chapters, but remember to read them if you haven't. The Petri article is from 1976. Yay, class of 76, high school. I know, that's so ridiculous. But he actually mentions in there, he's not really emphasizing the singular interdisciplinarian, the individual interdisciplinarian like us, because he feels that those same constructs and concepts and ideas he talks about do fit with the individual, but he's going to look at more or less the committee, IDS committee, specialists, academic specialists. Because how do we see? How do all these, what do they see? What do we see? I know I was talking about Black Lives Matter today with a 302 student. It's one of the topics they can do research on. She chose it, and we talked about how the many disciplines you could use to analyze the Black Lives Matter movement, but it's a very clear issue that so much depends on who's looking, who's viewing. Would you agree? Depends where you are. Do you live in a city, urban area like I do? Do you live in the suburbs? Do you live in the rural areas? What's your racial, ethnic makeup? What's your income level? Your education level? Where do you get your information from? All of these are going to affect what you see. Okay. My niece just texted me. She works at a university up in Milwaukee. She said, "Hey, what's the latest on Portland?" She asked me. I said, I haven't followed it that closely because actually the American political culture right now has me on a like a raw. It's raw. It's a hard one to deal with from wherever you're coming from. It's really difficult, and we want to get through this. The only thing I would say to my students: vote. I don't care who you vote for. I don't want to tell you who to vote for. I just want you to exercise your privilege in a democratic society. Okay, so Petrie emphasizes certain important areas about, do you see what I see, about interdisciplinary work? The psychological characteristics of the participants, very important. The institutional setting is very important, and the epistemological considerations. Read about that in that download to get an understanding about that. Now he does even mention Nixon in there, Richard Nixon, for those who are really young, which cracks me up. Nixon. So that dates it right there. But okay, but you figure he probably wrote it in '75, published in '76. Things were pretty fresh back then. All right. So, but he talks about the factors of idea dominance, psychological characteristics of participants, institutional setting. They're all extremely important in terms of interdisciplinary. And remember, this course is intended to help you define interdisciplinary studies, interdisciplinarity, and interdisciplinarian. We want you to feel better about what you're pursuing here. Okay. All right, let's do Easter egg number 2. Use the readings. Use the readings is number 2. I want you to, when you do discussion boards and papers, and we're talking about some of these concepts and ideas, I don't want you to just leave those aside and go back to the same old, and start telling me about jack of all trades. I want you to get in and dig into the readings. Okay. Okay, now remember your maps. Maps is important again. Yes, it's not due until the end of Module 4, which is going to be about, okay, your IDS. Oh, okay, maps. Disciplinary, no. Where is it? I'm sorry. There it is. 100 points, disciplinary maps, due on October 7th. Seems like forever. October, no, it's not. It's due September 24th. Oh my God, why did I have a, okay. It's due September 24th, and it's only going to be up until September 29th. I don't know why I have October in there. It was just a wild shot. Okay, it's only going to be up there till September 29th. The 24th is going to get here faster than you think. Do not delay and procrastinate this, because if we get down to the last day and you say, "Oh my God, I don't know what to do here. I got to email Professor Fair." Professor Fair might be four-wheel driving up in Sedona that day. And I'm not going to be interested because you had 2 weeks at least to get to those questions. So just start digging on that maps and figuring out if you're running into any obstacles, okay? Discussion board 3.1 is learning from the get-go. That's the video we talked about. I just talked about there. And I wonder if he has the mighty mug on here. Does he? Let's see. Learning from the get-go. Yeah, the mighty mug is there. Yes, the mighty mug's only about a minute. It's like a commercial almost. It's very interesting. You'll love it. Learning from the get-go. It's a little longer. It's TED Talk, but boy, it's fascinating. And it really illustrates a lot about interdisciplinary studies. And I look forward to reading your discussion board from this, okay? It looks like, am I like way behind or something? Because people already have submitted it. How many Gecko submissions do we have? I'm sorry. These are these parts. Oh, 12. We got 12 in already. It's not due until tonight. So I'm sure I'll get about 40 more. Oh, we just changed to 12. Okay. All right. So that's the gecko and the mighty mug. And then we got discussion board number 3.2, which is the one that does not require any responses, but there is seven, I believe, seven specific things I'd like you, prompts, I guess. You can number them on your discussion board because it's not really, it's for me to see. Number them. It'd be really nice for me to be able to see that all seven. Wow, would that be nice? How I wish for that. Okay. Quiz number 2 is up waiting, 30 points. Go by what I talked about today, the readings and such, and you'll knock it out of the park. Let me just double check um, the time you have on that quiz because I want you to know that I know. You have 60 minutes to do 30 questions. Piece of cake. All right, we're at 16 minutes. Um, that should do it. Get a hold of me. Tomorrow, I literally probably will be up in Sedona, Prescott, Williams, Flag, that kind of square, doing some semi four-wheeling, nothing major. I need to get out. I just got a GoPro Max 360, if you know what that is. So I'm saying if you email me tomorrow, I may not respond to you as quick as you'd like. Okay. That's it. Forks up. Peace. Have a good weekend.